What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Cantina Talk. So, we got a surprise trailer drop of Tales of the Empire yesterday. This is the continuation of Tales of the Jedi. But without further ado, let's just get right into this trailer breakdown. We start off the trailer by seeing young Admiral Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth on the planet Corvus. The last time we were on Corvus was in Mando Season 2, where Wing had just become the new Magistrate of Caladan after Morgan Elsbeth had been captured at the hands of Mando and Ahsoka. This is also where we got the line of, "Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" More on Wing in a little bit. This scene with young Thrawn and Morgan is setting up the events that have taken place in Mando Season 2 as well as Ahsoka Season 1. I believe we are getting not only all of Morgan's backstory, but as well as a little bit of Marok and Thrawn's, and maybe even Baylan and Shin in the series. With that, we are also getting parts of the Son of Dathomir storyline, and seeing this in Clone Wars animation is insane. I gotta say that I'm all here for it. I can't believe we're getting this, but now we're going to be moving on. This trailer is edited, very sneakily I might add. The fire that we're seeing here is originally on Dathomir, but then cuts to Corvus, where we can see the destruction of this New Republic ship. With this though, we are also seeing scout guards burning down the trees in the forest area that surrounds Caladan, essentially cutting it off from the rest of the planet, also turning the town into the state that we see it during Mando Season 2. We get the shot of young Morgan Elsbeth and her unnamed followers as they look out and see the burning of Dathomir, and events of the Son of Dathomir storyline taking place. We also get this insane shot of Morgan's hand in the sand here, and I gotta say the animation looks amazing. This shot, along with the one following it with all the sand particles falling out of her hand, looks live action. The Lucasfilm Clone Wars animation is starting to become more and more like live action, and I'm all here for it. It looks amazing. We see here that Morgan Elsbeth is talking with a younger Thrawn, voiced once again by Lars Mikkelsen. I'm glad to see he's back. She's telling him that all her hatred and pain and strength is what is her driving force, and it'll be a great use to the Empire. Thrawn does take this deal, and I want to take a second here just to go over Thrawn. We can see that Thrawn's current rank is Admiral. We could tell this by the 6 blue squares on the ranking insignia. 6 solid blue is Admiral, 6 solid red is General, 6 blue with 3 yellow on top and 3 red on the bottom on the right hand side is Grand Admiral. So we know that Thrawn isn't a Grand Admiral yet, and when Thrawn shows up in Rebels, he's at least 2 years into him being a Grand Admiral. I don't know if we're going to see Thrawn's promotion in the show, but it's very cool to see here that he is just an Admiral. And I also gotta say, Thrawn in Clone Wars animation looks extremely menacing and feels so much like the Thrawn we all know. I cannot wait to see the scene on May the 4th, and I know you all can't either. Now we're gonna move on. We see the 4th sister entering a holding cell on Coruscant. We can tell this is Coruscant based off of the Coruscant guard troopers that were led by Commander Fox, that were most notably seen arresting Ahsoka during the bombing of the Jedi Temple, and the Coruscant guard will eventually be referred to as Imperial Shock Troopers, but I don't think we're just at that point quite yet. At this point in time, I still think that they are the Coruscant Guard, but I could be wrong. The 4th sister is here to recruit Barriss Offee into the Inquisitors, which we have seen a bunch of throughout Star Wars media in the past 10 years. Most notably in Star Wars Rebels, but also in Kenobi, Ahsoka, Tales of the Jedi, Jedi Fallen Order, and Survivor. The last time we had seen Barriss was when she was being arrested by Anakin Skywalker after he almost killed her for framing Ahsoka during the bombing. In the next scene, we hear this line from a clone trooper that states, "Just be glad that you aren't a Jedi anymore." I believe the scene takes place a little bit later on in the story, when Barriss is recruited, but I also want to take a second here to talk about these clone troopers. We can see that they have this dark gray, almost black set of armor on them. Most notably, though, is the green visor color that we can see here. It's a blink and you'll miss its shot, but right here on this side and on the left side, we can see that the visor color is indeed green. This instantly makes me think of Elite Squad. Elite Squad was the group that Crosshair was a part of for a brief period in Bad Batch Season 1, where they all had this darker clone armor and green visors. We know that they were a special squad, and I think that this was before Crosshair and their recruits started to form what we would know to be the Elite Squad. I think that this is the precursor to it, where they had the squad happen just with all clones, before learning that they needed to have actual recruits. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Following this, we hear a female voice, and I believe that this is Mother Talzin talking. It could be one of Morgan's followers, but I believe that this is Mother Talzin. Also, we are being shown a young Morgan Elsbeth fighting 2 Dathomirian Night Sister sickles that harness Night Sister magic. I also believe that these might be Beskar, more on that later. We cut to Morgan Elsbeth during the genocide at Dathomir, cutting down battle droids with her sickles. We also get a quick shot of the precursor to the Imperial AT-AT Walker. We can not only tell this by the sound of the walker when it shoots, but the overall design of the head as well. It looks very similar to Imperial Walkers. I believe that the Separatists were the ones who originally designed them, just like the Death Star, as well as all of the battle droids. I think that we're going to see the first test of the Imperial Walker during the genocide at Dathomir. We can also see here that Morgan Elsbeth is standing in front of some rubble as everything around her is burning and her home is destroyed. I think this is going to be fueling her hatred. That is also intercut with older Morgan Elsbeth in front of the New Republic ship that gets destroyed later in the trailer, confirming that we will be jumping through time to lead up to the events of Mando Season 2 and Ahsoka Season 1 through the show. This next shot is insane. We are greeted by the Grand Inquisitor being voiced once again by Jason Isaacs. I'm so glad that he's back to do the voice and that we are getting him in Clone Wars animation. The Grand Inquisitor is already looking a million times better than he did in Kenobi. We can also see that Barriss is here standing behind him, following him into this room. The next shot leads us right into this room, and this is the Sith training room. I originally thought this might be even on Korriban, but I'm more inclined now to think that this is possibly part of, if not the Sith temple below the Jedi temple on Coruscant, due to this being before the Fortress Inquisitorius was constructed. This room has plenty of Sith ruins in it, and I believe if it isn't below the Jedi temple, this was either taken from it or taken from a place on Korriban. I'm only saying this because of the previous shot where they were in the doorway. It looks very similar to an Imperial Venator due to the surroundings. If anything, this could have just been taken and brought onto the ship, just like how Thrawn had taken the Jedi Temple from Lothal and put it onto the Chimera in Season 4 of Star Wars Rebels. We get this line from the Grand Inquisitor stating that mercy only breeds defeat as he uses the Force to pull a lightsaber towards him. Speaking of these lightsabers, if you notice, they're all the same in pairs. The one in the center is different, which is the one that Grand Inquisitor grabs, but the first two on either side are the same saber. Following that, the middle two are also the same, but with the outermost two, they are different but very similar. I think that this is a very nice touch, and I'm glad that they're showing the collection of lightsabers here. The Grand Inquisitor is telling Barriss that he will help her overcome weakness, and as we look in the background, we can see all the Sith ruins on the back of the wall, as well as underneath the red lighting. The next shot we get is of Barriss igniting the saber, and we get even more Sith ruins revealed, along with the layout of the training room. We also get to see just how powerful the Grand Inquisitor is, not even having to move quickly, mirroring how Kanan was with Sabine in Star Wars Rebels, just avoiding her and moving out of the way of her strikes. I thought this was very cool to see just because of what we will see in Star Wars Rebels later on. The next shot is on Coruscant, with LAATs flying over the Imperial HQ, which will later become the Imperial Naval Intelligence Agency. This is in the Federal District of Coruscant, and we had last seen this place in Bad Batch Season 2, where Commander Cody and Crosshair were talking. While this is taking place, we get a voiceover from Wing. Wing was last seen in Mando Season 2, taking over as the Magistrate of Caladan. The shot continues with Morgan Elsbeth and the HK-87 assassin droid walking up to Wing and some New Republic officers. This is taking place before the events of Mando Season 2. We also hear from the voiceover, once again, that Morgan Elsbeth had told the townspeople that the Empire would change things. Also, I have to say, this shot is extremely beautiful. It almost looks live action, which is baffling to me. Morgan also states here that everything comes at a cost as the scout guards get ready with their rifles and start to shoot at the New Republic officers. We can also see here that Morgan Elsbeth has her Beskar spear and is able to deflect the blaster bolts coming from the New Republic with ease. Following this, we see the New Republic ship getting blown up. The explosion happens and we see that the character got blown back and her face and body appear to be semi-burnt. I don't believe she is dead here, but I believe that Morgan will come in and kill her just after this. Following that, we will get the shot from earlier of Morgan Elsbeth walking away from the rubble of the ship with the Force on fire behind her. This also cuts with General Grievous sitting over young Morgan with two sabers ignited, while Morgan's sickles are glowing with Night Sister magic. Morgan is also stating here that her entire world has been burning since she was a child. Also, the fact that Morgan Elsbeth is able to put up a fight against General Grievous with these sickles is insane to me. Once again, I think that these are Beskar. The next shot is of Morgan Elsbeth and one of her followers running out of this building. This is the same building where Morgan had got her sickles from earlier in the trailer. As they're exiting, I believe that they're about to be cut off by a bunch of battle droids getting deployed. I'm also sure that we're seeing here the beginning of what we saw earlier with the battle droids and the explosion with all the fire. Now moving on. We then cut to see the fourth sister, saber ignited, dashing towards someone. To who that might be, well, I will have more on that in just a second. We get a shot of Barriss running towards this Force user with her Inquisitor saber on her back, and this Force user is wielding a blue lightsaber fighting the fourth sister. We could tell that this is Barriss running up due to the headgear that she's wearing. It's edited to make you think that it's the fourth sister, but this is definitely Barriss. We could tell by the headgear, because if it was the fourth sister, we would see her tendrils coming out the back. We then cut to the fourth sister fighting, and it is revealed that she is fighting Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. This is Barriss Offee's former master from the Clone Wars that we'd also seen in Star Wars Rebels, which her body was used to lure in Kanan by the Grand Inquisitor. Shout out to Will from Diamond Figs for making Joe from Jar Jar Jargon and myself aware of this last night during our podcast, Cantina Jargon. If we look carefully, we can see here that her skin is green. This confirms that this is Luminara Unduli. We also have a behind-the-scenes photo of Luminara from Attack of the Clones, and this looks exactly how she looks in this shot. And we can also see here that Barriss Offee is indeed in the background right here, making it even more meaningful and impactful. We also get this quick shot of this blast, and there's a bunch of super battle droids getting pushed back. I believe that this might be Palpatine, but I very well could be wrong. It also could be some sort of Mother Talzin ghost. I would love to hear what you guys think about this one in the comments as well. We then hear this line from the Grand Inquisitor stating, "Now you must face one final test to join us." We see the shot of this arena that has ray shields, and in the middle we see Barriss and this other Force user. I believe that this is one of the final stages of becoming an Inquisitor, just based on the outfit she's wearing here. I also think that this line is not actually in this scene. Once again, another shout out to Will from Diamond Figs for telling us this last night, and pointing out that the audio definitely seems off. I believe the final test is actually going to be Barriss killing Luminara Unduli. This scene, though, is definitely one of the trials into becoming an Inquisitor, and for that to happen, she has to kill her opponent. I believe that the ray shields will start creeping in closer and closer, making the circle smaller and smaller, until one of them dies. Finally, we hear the line from the Grand Inquisitor, "It is time that you meet your new master." We see a cape and metal boots walking up as we cut away to the fourth sister, Barriss Offee, Marok, and this Inquisitor that Ahsoka kills and tells the Jedi. All we know about this Inquisitor is that he's voiced by Clancy Brown, who voices and plays Ryder Zadi in Star Wars Rebels and in the Ahsoka show. And interestingly enough, also had voiced Savage Opress in the Clone Wars. He also has provided the voice of Mr. Krabs. We see the fourth sister, Barriss, Marok, and the other Inquisitor Neil, as we get a crotch shot of Vader walking up and passing them in this room. We hear his breathing as Barriss looks up, and we get the final line of the trailer from the Grand Inquisitor saying, "Long live the Empire." Along with this, we cut to the title screen that states Tales of the Jedi before being slowly burned away into Tales of the Empire, ending with the Imperial alarm sound. Well, that is the end of this trailer breakdown. I for one cannot wait to binge watch all these episodes on May the 4th when they drop and discuss them with Joe from Jar Jar Jargon. This show is incredible, and this trailer was a huge surprise coming out yesterday. Quickly, I would also just like to apologize for taking my hiatus. I am back, and I will be having videos coming out in the following weeks. If you want to see more from me, go ahead and click at the top right of your screen to watch last night's Cantina Jargon with Joe and myself. We went over the trailer, Bad Batch episodes 9 through 11, and Star Wars news. With that all being said, thank you all so much for watching. I would love to hear from you all in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And lastly, may the Force be with you all.